Hello students, it's your history teacher and I'm here with another online lecture. Today's topic is Austro-Hungarian Compromise or the era of dualism, and I already mentioned this as an important turning point in our history. In Slovak language, it's rakúsko-maďarské vyrovnanie alebo štátoprávne vyrovnanie, and now we will explain what it is, we will explain its background and changes that happened after the compromise. Let's start with the background. In 1866, during the unification of Germany, the Austro-Prussian War started. So Prussia was one of the German states and it had conflict with Austria. In the Battle of Königgrätz, the Austro-Hungarian Compromise came. The compromise established something what we call dual monarchy. This means that Austria and Hungary were two equal parts of the monarchy. Also, from that time it started to be called Austria-Hungary. Before, it was Habsburgian monarchy. Now, Austria-Hungary. Okay, so only after year 1867 we can call the monarchy Austria-Hungary. Austria was not really happy with the new establishment because Franz Joseph, by the October Diploma and later by February Constitution, tried to change the absolutistic form of the government and he wanted to make a compromise to the Hungary. But he didn't think of giving them opportunity to be equal. But anti-Habsburgian opposition was still pushing bigger autonomy and independence of the Hungarian government from the central government in Vienna. The main reason for that were old conflicts and some unsolved disputes about different topics. After the Habsburgian monarchy got weakened in Austro-Prussian War, the only chance was to make a deal with Hungary. And so the emperor approved Hungary to create their new independent Hungarian government. So Habsburgian monarchy was divided to Austrian part and Hungarian part, so two equal parts, Austria-Hungary. It was also divided by the river that is called Leitha River, alebo po slovensky je to rieka Litava. So the new state was divided by this river to Cisleithania and Transleithania. Je to Predlitavsko a Zalitavsko. Napíšte si to prosím vás práve do knihy k tejto vete, čiže k tomu, ako riekou Litavou bolo územie rozdelené na Predlitavsko a Zalitavsko. Vlastne pre tú rieku dáte predložku Cisleithania, znamená Predlitavsko. It contained Austrian part of the monarchy. Prečo Predlitavsko je rakúska časť, Cisleithania, and Transleithania alebo Zalitavsko bola maďarská časť. So Cisleithania, it was Austrian part, Transleithania was the Hungarian part. Okay? Remember that. We can also call this type of government personal union because they had one monarch, Franz Joseph I, so they had to have the same monarch and also these four things. So it's army. So Austro-Hungarian army was really complicated institution. Some troops were typically Hungarian, some were typically Austrian with a little bit different manners. But in general, it was the institution common for both parts. So Cisleithania and Transleithania. So Austria and Hungary. Finance. Austria-Hungary had common currency because you can't be one empire if you would have more currency. The Austrian guilder used in the second half of the 19th century was replaced by a new currency called crown, alebo teda koruna, prvýkrát sa používala. The next thing that had to be common for both parts of the monarchy was police, and it was a useful tool how to keep the political opposition under the control. And the last thing that had to be common was the foreign policy. So the way how we treat the other surrounding states. This is important because to the outer world, you still have to be recognized according to your political ideas. So for example, nowadays, it's important for us to know that we want to be part of the European Union, for example, and so we have our foreign policy influenced by the policy of European Union, and we want to go more to the west than to the east. Okay, so it's important for country to know where it wants to belong, who are its allies and its rivals. So these four things also with the monarch had to be same for these two parts in one country. So some other things they could treat differently, but these four things together with monarch had to be the same. You can also write monarch over there. So in fact it can be 5 things: army, finance, police, the foreign policy, and also monarch or the emperor. The compromise was a triumph of the Hungarian policy. Their demands were not approved during the revolution of 1848, but now they came back and finally they reached their goal. You know, in the revolution 1848, we were not the only ones in the monarchy who wanted their freedom. Also, Hungarians wanted more freedom from the Austrians. But compared to us, they reached that goal. While the Hungaro-Croatian Compromise was negotiated in the 1868, the situation of other nations of Hungary became worse. In Slovakia, the Matica and the Slovak high schools were closed, and the Magyarization was even more intense. You have that written in your book, and also we mentioned that during our last online lecture, that after the compromise happened and Hungary got total control over the areas of Transleithania, they could apply very strong Magyarization and laws that could suppress our Slovak National Revival. So just after 1 year, in 1868, they closed Matica Slovenská, our national cultural institution, and these 3 high schools. So if you remember, these were Revuce, Turčanský Svätý Martin, these were Lutheran, and Kláštor pod Snevom, that was Catholic. These 3 grammar schools were closed, and by that we came to the point when the Slovakia didn't have any school with secondary education. The main goal of Hungarian government after the compromise was to create one united Hungarian nation, not state, but nation. You know, when we describe what the nationalism is, for example, we also described what a nation is. Nation is that the people that belong to a certain nation have the same language, history, traditions, mentality, so all these things. But in the Hungarian part of the monarchy, of the Transleithania, there were Slovaks, Ruthenians, Roma people, Hungarians, there were Serbs, Croats, Bosnians and others. And even though that most of these nationalities are Slavs, there are differences. And certainly there are a lot of differences between the Slavs and the Hungarians. And they just wanted to blend all of us with the Hungarian nation to create only one nation that would create the state. In 1868, even the new law was issued that all inhabitants of the Hungary created just one Hungarian nation. So all the Slovaks, Ruthenians, Ukrainians, Serbs, Germans, Romanians, all of these were just ethnic groups of one nation. Hungarian language was only official language of Transleithania. The Slovak policy after the Austro-Hungarian Compromise was that after the revolution, basically, there were 2 main political conceptions, after 1848. The mainstream was the old school, represented by the politicians, most of whom were representatives of political continuity. So this was Jozef Miloslav Hurban, Jan Francisci, Stefan Marko Daxner, that created Memorandum of the Slovak Nation, and William Paulini thought. Remember these names. They demanded the federalization of the monarchy, and the Memorandum of the Slovak Nation was their main political program. These representatives of the old school had their political program, memorandum, and they demanded the federalization of the monarchy. So Slovak okolie would be just one part of the federalization. In 1871, they created the first Slovak political party that is called the Slovak National Party. Stará škola vytvorila našu najstaršiu politickú stranu, Slovenskú národnú stranu. The other representatives of the Slovak National Revival, Jan Palárik, Jan Malý Dusarov, Jan Nepomuk Bobula, created the New School, and the New School tried to find a compromise with the Hungarians, but after the Austro-Hungarian Compromise, they stopped. The Slovak National Revivalists were still trying to do something. They were in touch with other Slavic nations, mostly with the Czechs that were the closest nation to us, by the culture, by the language, and also geographically. So they still had their political program, and they didn't give up and hoped for a better future. So that's it for Austro-Hungarian Compromise. I will quickly revise what is the most important. To know that Austria-Hungary was created in 1867 after the compromise. So before it was Hungarian monarchy, after that Austria-Hungary. Also, it was divided by the river geographically, so Lita River, and by that river it was created to two parts, Cisleithania and Transleithania. Predlitavsko-rakúska časť Cisleithania, Zalitavsko-maďarská časť, alebo teda uhorská časť Transleithania. Napísať si to tam, prosím vás. Only 4 or 5 things were common for Austro-Hungary. This was army, finance, police, foreign policy, and monarch. After the compromise, Matica Slovenská was closed. Also, 3 grammar schools were closed in 1868, 1 year after the dualism started. And also, law was passed that all people living in the Hungarian part of the monarchy in Transleithania belong to one Hungarian nation. So it began the strong Magyarization process in which Hungarians wanted all the other nations to blend to their nation. The Slovak policy after the Austro-Hungarian Compromise was that after the revolution 1848-1849, Old School was created by Hurban, Francisci, Marko Daxner, William Paulini Todt. Their program was Memorandum. They created Slovak National Party, our oldest political party, and the New School was created, but they stopped their activity after the compromise because they wanted to try the compromise with them. Palárik, Malý Dusarov, Nepomuk Bobula. Okay, so this is important. I hope you all study because there's only one more topic and then there's small test that will be from the Congress of Vienna to Magyarization. So it will be quite difficult. So I really want you to study regularly, okay? Because I want you to have only good marks. So that is everything for me. So stay healthy until another lecture. Bye.